Thank you very much.
Yeah. So this is deferred till June.
I just opened it on
Hey, Lena, can you hear me? Can you just try to share your screen really quick, just while I'm near my
Sure.
lap?
It says your screen sharing is paused.
I can.
Oh, wait. Can you see?
It says you, there it goes.
There we
Yep, I can
go.
see it now. Okay, so yeah, just pull that off and it looks like you're good to go, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
You have that on your phone, the meeting link, you want to connect.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing for now and then
Yep.
go back into it. Okay. Thanks.
Everyone can rise, we'll start the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Yes, yep, thank you. Let me just do it real quick. Trustee Mesner.
Here.
Trustee Luz Rivera.
Here.
Trustee Pentel.
Present.
Trustee, Deputy Mayor Younger. Present. You're present. Did you just try to say something? Did someone hear that? Okay.
No, that was Ian on the.
You would look at.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a number of items to go through. We have a number of petitioners here. Do we have anyone from the Ellenville Little League grade here to speak tonight? How are you?
How you doing? April 25th, want to do our Little League parade, from the school, crossing over Maiden and down Canal, and then into Edwards. So we started at, we're gonna meet up at 10, walk at 10.
The normal route every year.
Yeah,
Chief, any objections?
Nope.
And what's the date again?
April 25th.
I have a motion to approve,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Next we have Ellenville Run Like the Wind.
Hello. I submitted the letter of intent with the updated insurance. We're doing the same exact route this year. Have not gotten with Chief Phil yet. Still have some time just to go over any logistical challenges. But literally the same exact thing. This would be year 3 of the new route. So we'll have, I think, 2 scheduled cleanups just to make sure the trail's in great shape. Yeah, just wanted to ask any or see if there's any questions or any feedback from us from last year.
Any concerns, thoughts? Chief? improved route than they used to do, right? So this is pretty good.
There's still, we have a couple added personnel on there to make sure, so there's always a couple of extra. That's it in the normal Sunday.
We were able to get the roads open a little over an hour. I think the goal was under an hour, which is the goal, which is like half as long as it was in years prior before we changed around. So we're getting there.
Is it going to be a kids one?
Rolling the Breeze, the nursery school holds, I believe they're going to do it again at the Elks Lodge. I don't know details. They have their activation, touch a truck. But I'm not familiar with the exact details.
Okay, with that, I give a motion approving Ellenville Run Like the Wind.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Birthday cleanup, Miranda. Okay, great.
So we're planning the fourth annual cleanup to be for May 2nd. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Past few years, we've had maybe 12 bags in total of recycling and trash, all volunteers, joint coalition of different community organizations working on it. We want to do it in front of the boy with the boot, where we normally do it with just 2 little shade tents. We'll have like a water station, we'll have all the gloves, bags, everything's purchased already. Vests for people like the yellow vests. And yeah, that's really it. The rain date would be May 9th, same time, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And in past years, we've just had someone volunteer with their truck to pick up the trash and bring it to the dump. And I already asked the town for like the dump tickets for the trash, and I think they agreed. So that's pretty much all covered. I haven't talked to Mike yet about anything, but normally someone talks to you. Hasn't happened yet. I went to the town first because they had their meeting first and then here. So yeah, that's it. Just want to make sure it's okay to do it in the same spot. It's here.
Okay, any questions before we go on motion?
No, I mean, it's always been successful, so.
Yeah, only suggestion would be like maybe sending a flyer to the school, so like that way there'll be more involvement from the community families and the kids can see the result of their efforts.
Yeah, I looped them in on the email, but I'll send the flyer to everyone.
Yeah, so you can actually send a flyer to the district office and
Okay.
they'll get approved. And then if you make the copies and bring them to the school, they'll disperse them all around, like this is great with the kids.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Mike, do you have any questions or comments?
I'm here to help you, as always. I need to do the trash cans.
Yeah.
We need a trailer there.
Okay.
Take it to the landfill,
Great. Yeah.
and anything else, just contact me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the birthday cleanup?
Second.
All in favor? Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we've had Elena Santagrade, to discuss the dog park project via Zoom. Elena, feel free to take it away from here.
Can I just say a couple of words?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
we've got some other folks in the room. I'm going to be walking us through some of the materials, but I think Barb and Denise are here from Coffee, and maybe Ed. I don't know if Ed, a fellow Parks Commissioner, is in the room, but yeah. Go ahead, Barb.
I have couple little things to say, okay?
Okay.
So I just want to stress that Coffee feels it's very important to have the separation of the dog within our streets and to have an actual contained area where dogs are okay to be and not out in the general public when they can roam free and, not be problematic as far as people and dogs crossing paths and people getting hurt. So that I know has been a threat for Elena. And we also are committed to fundraising for the first 3 years to finance the cost of the park. And we feel that any type of.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
You on the phone?
So, that goes fencing, dog bags, any type of expenses, we're gonna try to hit that mark for 3 years. So hopefully that will help us dissuade any type of questions that you have about the finance part. And then it'll also give us a good base to figure out how much it actually will be costing us for a yearly basis, which that's kind of an unknown as of this juncture. Maybe in-kind services we can get for things like mowing, which I know Mike has brought up, all various types of things, getting it set up. And then secondly, the chronogrammies are up right now. So there's a lot of local people who are up for that, which would help with the foot traffic in our little village. We have, Morning Sunshine's up, I'm up, Top Shelf, probably Everything Nice. The Zen Garden in front of Inway, which used to be the old Wayside Inn. So hopefully we'll get some kind of link up, not necessarily coffee, but somebody will. And we'll post it in the post office, different places publicly, so you can just hit a link and then go and vote and get those people to Ellenville. And then the last thing is the vendors' applications are now open for the Ellenville Farmers Market. And that is going to be on Fridays now from 4 to 7 p.m. Same location on Center Street, the corner, but June through October. So it's a change to Fridays, 4 to 7. That's it. Take it away, Elena.
Okay, thanks, Barb. I think I also do have more details on some of the stuff Barb mentioned. I've got broken down, and we actually have very few unknowns about the cost of operating the potential dog park. So we'll get into it. Hello, my name is Elena Santagade. I know many of you from being at a bazillion of these meetings, but I'm so sorry to not be there tonight. I have a new job, and it requires me to be out of the village on Mondays, of course, the one day. So for our new trustees who I haven't met yet or gotten to know much, hello. I am a member of our Parks and Recreation Commission, and I am a dog lover and a lover of public space. And so I'm here to reintroduce this initiative that we've had going for a while on the Parks Commission, and that we have, some of you are very familiar with it, the trustees who have been here. But basically what I want to do today is reintroduce the initiative, give you an update. We've reached some milestones in terms of our preparation, and then we can talk about next steps. So I'm going to go through a lot of stuff here. You've got everything in your board packet. So, you can, if you haven't reviewed it yet, hopefully you can review it more after this meeting, and I will definitely take questions once I get through the slides. Okay, can everybody see my slide, this cutie pie?
Yep.
Okay, good. The best thing about these slides are all the pictures of dogs. Okay, so let's see. Let me just move my little, okay, there we go. Zoom loves to get in my way. Okay, so I basically just gave us the little what we'll cover today. The background here is essentially that the Ellenville and Warsing Parks and Recreation Commission has voted unanimously a few times, actually, in support of this initiative to establish a dog park in the upper area of Berm Road Park, up just beyond the pavilion. This is the space identified in the 2018 master planning process that was done for the park. The reason that we've been championing this idea, here and now, is that we do have coffee as an established local partner. And the concept here is pretty simple. It's that coffee has pledged to donate money from their own purse as an organization and to fundraise. And so our goal here is to try to create a new public amenity that we had hoped to create based on the master plan, and to do it with basically no taxpayer dollars, or little to no taxpayer dollars. So here's some stats on dogs in Ellenville. About a third of New York State households have at least one dog. And anybody in the village sees all kinds of people walking around with their dogs hanging out on the front porches. We know this is something that speaks to the hearts and souls of our community. The other the other, big point I want to make here is that off-leash exercise and socialization of dogs is extremely important. It's both important for the dog's health and also their socialization. And what I mean by that is dogs learn how to interact safely with other dogs when they can be free from a leash often. A leash introduces a constraint that's very antithesis to dogs' instincts. So what we see in not just our community, but communities all over the state and the country is that when there is no designated lawful place for dogs, for dog owners to allow their dogs to socialize off leash and exercise, they often use other spaces to achieve this goal for the health of their dogs. What we've seen in Ellenville is the use of the Little League fields and the softball fields, since they are somewhat contained. And what we want to do is really protect those spaces for the kids of Ellenville. We've heard from the Little League folks. I don't know if people have seen it on Facebook, but playing Little League with dog poop around your field is a really unpleasant experience. So that's something that we are excited, a problem we're excited to solve while also adding a new amenity. I'm just going to speak to the third point on this slide. I know there's a lot of texts on these slides and a lack of dog photos, honestly. That's on me. So the third point here is that the other thing that we're excited about for a dog park in Ellenville is that it is often a space to normalize safe pet handling and waste disposal. Dog owners who pick up their poop, of which I am, I'm the lady walking around the village swinging the bag of my dog's poop constantly. No one is more upset than us when people don't pick up after their dogs. What a dog park can also help do is educate the public about this expectation. And what we hope to do as part of the fundraising with coffee is engage a sponsor to fund a dog poop bag dispenser, both at the dog park and in our plan. We're hoping that we can actually install a few others at sort of hot spots around the village so that, we can extend this normalizing the picking up of dog waste around the village, not just even in the dog park. So this is a slide to just show like a lot of communities that have dog parks actually go above and beyond to promote them. They'll have websites for them. It's a big draw. They promote the community in a great way, and they really help to, showcase a community space that's geared around the love of dogs. One question that always comes up is about liability and risks. Dogs are not human beings, obviously, and sometimes there are interactions that are not ideal. And so the thing I want to call out here is that this is a solved problem. It's a solved problem in New York State and actually in our county. We've also done some work with Ian, I believe, last year, where we did look into the village's insurance, and it was confirmed that dog parks are typical municipal exposures and would not need any additional insurance. These are also some examples of signs, and as part of the plan, we can make our own custom signs with the rules that we want to highlight for visitors to the park. There's also a lot of good examples that I'm just including here. Kingston Point Park is a good one. They have a great website that lists all their rules and stuff like that. Very easy to find information. Okay. So what makes for a great dog park? Just to give everybody a little overview. What you want in a dog park is a convenient location, and you want it actually close to residential areas in the community, because you do want it to ideally be walkable from people's homes. And then you also do want it close to the commercial areas, so that people visiting might visit the dog park, and then also adds a little bit of an economic boost to our community. The one key thing is that it's best to find a place that's not bordering any private homes. And you can imagine why. If there's friendly dog barking and maybe the summertime whiff of some dog pee, you don't really want that right next to people's houses. You also want as much space as possible. And ideally, shaded areas and open fields, a combo of both is like best. Drainage is key, and ground cover that's already established can really help. And also parking for obvious reasons. Beautiful surroundings are a bonus. Okay, so this is just to give folks a sense of sort of like what I like to call the V1 minimum requirements. What we really need to establish a dog park is fencing and what we call a double gated entrance. That is the safe standard entrance for a dog park. And what that means is that you enter an initial little fenced in vestibule, you shut the gate behind you, then you unleash your dog, and then you go through a second gate to enter the full dog park. We also want signage listing the rules, a small trash receptacle, lawn maintenance and surface maintenance is key. And also it is really critical to have a separate fenced area for small dogs. This helps to avoid any, interactions that can get tricky. If you have a really, really tiny dog and a really, really huge dog, sometimes that doesn't go well in a dog park. The other items I list here are we consider nice to haves and we wouldn't need to open. So to give you a little background, I mentioned that we are proposing a site that was the one proposed originally in the master plan for Berm Road Park in 2018. Since a number of years had gone by, the Parks Commission originally did assess all 4 of these locations, just to sort of double check and see what our options are. And it really was clear that Berm Road Park continued to be the best location for a lot of the reasons I already mentioned. The master plan, if you haven't seen it yet, has all kinds of incredible amenities and like a really holistic view of Berm Road Park. But what I want to highlight here is that here we have a bird's eye view. And I know there's a lot going on in this image, but if you look at the lower right-hand corner of this map image to this yellow box, if you imagine just below that is the ridge, and the Smiley Carriage Road trailhead goes just below that. So that's sort of how we're orienting, and this big parking lot is by the pavilion there. So in the yellow box is the space that we are reintroducing as the site that we agree still fits the bill and would be an excellent location for a dog park. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, Coffee being a partner on the project. I think the thing I want to highlight here is just to point out that there is precedent for similar types of partnerships in our community. Community. The Renegades Bike Club has an agreement with Littman Park in the town of Wawarsing that we have been thinking we could probably base the actual documentation agreement on. And there's also the Hunt Memorial Building Committee. Okay, I'm going to talk about costs in more detail. At this point, what we are proposing as the only potential cost to the village for the first few years as we ramp up the fundraising would be the trash removal. So we are assuming 1 trash can at the dog park. It's usually there'll be a trash can right outside of the dog park. And that would be just adjacent to the existing trash cans up at the pavilion. And so ideally would just be able to be picked up along with the existing trash removal there. Okay, so this is sort of like an overview of the phases of the project. The last time we came to this board, we were asking the board for conditional approval on the overall idea here, which the board did grant us. And what that conditional approval helped us do was check this number 2 off the list, where we spent, a lot of volunteer time with Coffee doing the project design. And I'll show the details of that. But the general idea here is that the village would enter into a partnership agreement with Coffee, conditional on the ability to fundraise all the costs. Coffee would then project manage the establishment of the dog park and make it happen. Okay, so what we are hoping for is both to finalize the site approval and the partnership agreement. I understand that some of you may not have seen the site. So my expectation is, since this is me reintroducing this whole project, is that maybe the next step would be that we all do a site visit again together. This is actually a perfect time of year before things start growing. The site is somewhat accessible, although I want you to wear your big boots to do that. And so that's really sort of like the full slide part of this. What I would like to show now is in your board packet. This is the full breakdown of the project details, and you'll be able to see like what the thing is here on the left. And then here on the right, I talk about like who's doing the work, who procures it, if it's a one-time cost, and if it's an ongoing yearly cost. So we start with fencing, which is the biggest thing. And that's really the second line here. We got a full quote from High and Low Fencing. And this assumes that we are not using any existing fencing from the village. The first line up here does call out the fact that the village at one point had leftover fencing from the old basketball courts that could potentially be reused. And then you have all of the little bits, the poop bag dispenser with a trash can that we mentioned. We have in-kind volunteer labor from Coffee and the Parks Commission to clear the site, including the donation of one day of use of a brush hog that one of our members has. The mowing cost is part of what Coffee will be fundraising for the ongoing hard costs, and we've estimated that as $1,500. The beauty of a dog park is that if we get traction, literally, oftentimes it doesn't need to be mowed like your front lawn. And there's also a small cost to reseed the lawn each year and some signage details. And here I've got some totals. So here I've got the year one fundraising goal would be about $18,000 overall. And the ongoing yearly costs right now really just come in at $1,700, which is our estimate for the reseeding and the mowing. And the only other thing I wanted to share while we're all here together, and this is in everyone's board packet, is this memorandum of understanding between Town of Wawarsing Lippman Park and the Renegades Bike Club, which has, so the Renegades Bike Club, for folks that might not know, does some upkeep on the bike trails there at Lippman Park, and have worked with the town to have this agreement. So that's really the gist of my presentation here today. And I forgot to show this totally adorable photo as a final slide. Okay, I know that was a lot. I feel like I'm talking and I also can't see anyone else. So I hope you're all still there. And do you have any questions at this point? Any points of anything you'd like to share?
What I would say is if you stop sharing your screen, it might bring us back up. Are
Yeah.
we present again? Okay. So trustees, any questions to think on right now, or anything you want to present for Elena in this moment? No, not yet. Okay, Elena, I appreciate all the work that has gone into this. Obviously, this is a very detailed presentation, so I appreciate the thoroughness. I definitely think we will take you up on that offer to do a site visit again. I think that would be good for all of us to put eyes back on it. Maybe.
I would like to circle back to this whole conversation and presentation with more consideration placed on the liability piece, the owner responsibility piece, right? Like, we have to take into consideration like the demographics of this village and the optics of how many individuals are responsible for, veterinary care, vaccinations, upkeep. As someone who uses dog parks in other municipalities, I'm more comfortable traveling to other municipalities just because of their ability to showcase like maintenance and, treating dogs well. I'm not saying that people in Ellenville don't do that, but I need you to consider all of the examples you gave of dog parks are in sufficiently better equipped, populated areas. And I struggle with the notion of putting a dog park next to where my kids play, thereby exposing them to an off-leash, perhaps aggressive dog that is not responsive to voice command, when they're just enjoying, play. I'm, and then also to that point, a non-responsive dog running off into the ridge. And then lastly, just the fact that most dog parks are notorious for the owners are not cleaning up behind their dogs. Second to being publicly shamed. So maybe I just would like more consideration of the reality of dog parks, especially when we're placing it something that's so close to well-established family type recreation, and at the heart of our village.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think there's some interesting things to get into there, like especially there's a little bit of a chicken or the egg situation where a lot of times the way people get educated about training, vaccinations, licensing is at a space like a dog park that attracts dog owners and can operate like an educational space. One of the things that I know we discussed with Coffee and the Parks Commission is like the opportunity to have a trainer come and do sessions for free at the dog park, to bring some education and kind of like training for owners to our community for free as part of the program. I just want to also make sure it was totally clear. I think I might have breezed over it, but this would be a fully fenced in dog park with a double gated entry so that which meets kind of like the safety and security standards of dog parks. I just want to make sure that's super clear, because what we're proposing is a net improvement is how I would sort of put it in terms of safety in the park. Right now, if people are letting their dogs off leash on the Smiley Carriage Road in other areas of the park, and we've all, I mean, I shouldn't speak for anyone else, but I've seen dogs off leashed at the softball fields a ton. That is not a secure place that is actually contained. And so what this proposal is actually doing is moving the space where people do allow their dogs to be off leash farther away from where the children's equipment is, and it firmly secures them. Whereas right now, the way that people are using the park with dogs can sometimes be like very unsafe and really close to, a situation where a dog could get out. The idea here is that we're giving a space that's contained and safe to make every other space in the park more safe. So I'm not totally sure what I can offer to you by way of, the things you're saying. Like, I totally hear you. I also am around the village and interact with dogs and dog owners a lot. And so I think I see this, I see that our village has a large population of people who own dogs who, would benefit as much as any other location.
So,
And on the liability side, I think maybe what we could do is I will bring up the text we got from the insurance provider that goes into more detail about this being a typical municipal space that's fully covered under the village's current policy, which is at your own risk, same policy that covers the rest of the park.
so I think we will take you up on your offer to walk the site. I think that will
Sure.
help us kind of reframe exactly what the ask is, what and where it's going to be within the park, and how that may or may not affect certain aspects of the other parts of the park. I think if we have any other question that maybe we want a little more clarity on, that if we want to follow up and maybe collect them and we can submit them in writing over to Elena and Coffee. But Elena, let's, maybe you can reach out and give us a couple of dates in the future when you may be available on site, and then we can schedule a workshop meeting over at the park and we'll walk through it.
Sure, that would be great.
I have a quick question. Who developed the Burn Road Park Master Plan in 2018?
BNL.
Sorry, who?
BNL.
Judas.
Who's there?
Barton and Lajudas.
Barton and
Wireless
Lajudas.
Juniors.
Is that
I used to be our engineers.
Okay, so the village created the master plan.
Village,
Yeah.
yeah, with engineer.
Okay, so I guess,
Funding.
but,
Right back then, there was funding for the park,
right, well, theoretically, the funding would be, I guess that's my second question too, but, outside of the funding, so 2018, just looking at the village demographics then versus now in terms of like safety, just wondering if it was okay in 2018 due to the study,
Sure.
would it
And
be
as-
okay in
Yeah,
2027?
as circumstances changed.
Something to look at.
Yeah, also I know that study did a number of in-person community events that helped to actualize the plans there. So it was a very community-driven process, I believe, that master plan.
And I guess my other question was around fundraising. You mentioned that the village, the only responsibility of the village would be to pick up the trash. Would it be
Mhm.
possible for Coffee to fundraise to compensate the street department for that time? So there would be a net
Yeah, I mean,
zero cost to tax.
I think that's totally possible. I think it's sort of the sky's the limit. I mean, the other thing that dog parks often do, like all dog parks, even in huge municipalities, usually have a cohort of volunteers that kind of like just keep the dog park nice, maybe add amenities, add some agility equipment over time or something like that, keep it clean around the park. I've seen parks where the volunteers actually do take the trash and put it in a municipal trash area elsewhere. So that's also an option, that we just have it be kind of like a volunteer managed situation, and that we don't actually add another trash pickup, but we combine it somewhere else. I just want to be really sensitive to like a dog park trash. I don't want to be putting that in the pavilion. So it's important that it be separate.
Elena, as a part of the design process, do you guys have preliminary designs that you could share with us on the actual footprint that was originally suggested? I'm not sure if you're there yet, but just asking.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the Parks Commission and me. And so
Sure.
this time there is no engineering, layout. I think the best way to have a sense of it is to go in the master plan. There is, that's where I got the image from here. It really is the same exact footprint. So I don't think we need to recreate the wheel, but basically it's an oval shape. Mike Jetter actually also did start to clear it a few years ago when the village had some energy around carrying out this part of the master plan. So it's partially cleared, and if we can go in the next few weeks, it's really easy to sort of see the site location before anything grows.
Okay. So we will follow up with you on maybe setting a date to do a site walk with the building. We will set a workshop date.
Great. And, we can talk more, like, I want to be sensitive to the concerns. I think it's something new for the community. And so at the site visit, if folks want to talk more about, some of the concerns about worst case scenarios and how we would handle it, I think that should be an ongoing conversation. When we did the site visit last time, actually, there was just to speak to having it be at the same location where kids are playing. A woman who'd seen the post, I think in the Journal or on Facebook or something, showed up and she did the site visit with all of us because she can't normally come to the meetings. And she actually was, it's kind of amazing when you stand at the site, you can see down the hill at the courts and the playground. And she had a really amazing kind of perspective to share, where she was really excited about being up there with her dog and being able to see her kids play basketball or be on the playground, and really like having a full family outing. And anybody who has a dog you know, I'm sure you're like me and you consider that dog part of that full family. And so having Burn Road Park be that full family outing, I think is a really exciting thing. And if we can do it safely and responsibly, it would be really great for the community.
Great, thank you. We'll definitely digest on all of this and we will definitely meet up and I think it'll be a insightful visit for us to better understand what's gonna go with it. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ellenville Garden Club is requesting permission to plant a tree at Burn Road Park. Is anyone here from the Garden
No.
Club? Okay.
No, but Mrs. Harris spoke to Michael Jeter.
Okay. Mike, did they identify the location that they
No, we
wanted?
didn't identify a location yet,
Okay,
as long as it's all right with the mayor and the board for that. They planted a tree down there. It's about this time that we really need
Yeah.
a tree to be planted because several of those trees are coming to the end of the.
Yeah.
any,
Yeah, I have-
Cherry blossom, right?
is it?
I think, what did they
Is
say?
that what they
Cherry
proposed?
blossom, right?
Yes,
yeah, as long as Mike is in contact with them and, you know, they're able to identify a spot, I have no problem.
Any other concerns?
I think it's a great idea. I would just maybe flag to them to actually not do it in the open field next to the pavilion, because as of now, that keeps an opportunity open. I know we're not there at all, but like outdoor shows or activities, if there's not like a tree dead center in
Yeah,
that, like that empty field is actually quite amazing, or like to have.
well, she mentioned to me that it was gonna be down on the lower part, down by the playground area and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, where some of those maples are beginning to, reach the.
And that's what I also suggested.
So with that being said, I'll motion for the Ellenville Garden Club to give permission to the cemetery. Designated spot.
We have a second from the trustee, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Is there anyone else here to speak to the board tonight that's not on the agenda? Anyone on any matters, sir? Come up.
In reference to snow removal.
Sure. And if you could just state your name.
My name is Christopher Hume, representing Ulster County Property Management. Okay, I was issued a citation. We own and maintain about a dozen properties here in the village. And we do have a snow removal rule that goes around and maintains the properties. On this one particular property, 125 Center Street, it's a corner here on Church Center. We did have the crew out there that did make a path, but the town came with the trucks and the snow was literally over 4 feet high along the Center Street. And it was too much for us to get in there with shovels again. You would need like bigger equipment to get that snow out of there. So it did stay until the town did come and remove it. Have some pictures here after the fact. I didn't take them before because I didn't think I would need them. I don't know if it'll help the situation, but we're just asking make it less than a fine or something along those lines. We'll get it dismissed.
Mike, Dan.
What is the property action?
Where?
125?
125 Center Street. It's a corner property. And for some reason I don't know who drives the trucks, but it was even pushed all the way up into the lawn and stuff in front. And it's right along Center Street. And there's no buffer of grass.
Center and Church Street?
Yes.
The green?
The green, yes.
Yeah, the green.
Yeah. And there's no buffer of grass, so it's literally curb and then sidewalk.
I'm familiar with the property my grandfather used to own.
You think you told me that?
So
The one side wasn't done at all. There was a path on the Center Street side. There was a lot of snow and it wasn't the proper path that was necessary, which is 30 inches wide that is supposed to be that we struggle with a lot of the taxpayer just making a small path which was supposed to be handicap accessible. But because we was there and we cleaned up that side, because we normally pick up snow, we went on ahead and picked up the snow because it was like 3 feet high. And I know
Maybe I think it's one.
we don't plow that, so that you know, we plow the Church Street. The state plows the.
Oh, the state? Oh,
the
the state that came down Center Street?
They always plow the Center
It's
Street.
literally this tall.
Yeah, I know.
There's too much to do even with a snow blower.
It was all of it.
And we already did it. And then it was the next day, when
We seen
we're
the
on top
path,
of it.
we seen the path that was done.
Right.
Since I was there, we took all the snow off of the Church Street side, which wasn't done. We also just accommodated you and the state by going ahead and removing all that snow, because we normally do that in the business district, and that's kind of still part of the business district.
Right, well, we thank you for this, so we,
You're welcome.
would have, it cost us more to pay somebody to do it, but we had already done it, so I didn't know the
Okay,
proper way to address it, so that's why I'm here.
How much was it?
The total summons was $228.
Usually there's a,
Administrative fee of 100, and then 128 for the linear footage under 71 feet. It's 228.25.
Could you perhaps leave some of the information that you brought to us, just because it wasn't on the agenda tonight? We can talk over it with Mike and Dan, and then maybe at our next meeting, we'll make a consideration for it.
That's fine, that's all I can ask, but I do, we have 2 other properties as well.
Okay.
Yeah, another one is 9 Herman Street. Okay. It's in the middle of the block. It's about 48 feet wide. And that property also was cleared by the snow removal crew that we have going around the building's not occupied right now. We're doing some renovation work there. But there is a condemned building next to it with driveway, and that it never gets, it doesn't even get shoveled. So we did leave part of our driveway not done, but we did have a path going in and along the sidewalk. So there's someone else we would ask to consider.
was this the same day? We got
Well, the same snowstorm, yeah, the snowstorm on January 25th into the 26th. It was a major storm. If it was 6 inches of snow, a non-issue. The last one, which was in the envelope with these other 2 summonses, was a property that we didn't own at the time. We do own it now. It is addressed to the previous owner, but we didn't own it at the time of the citation.
What property is that?
That's on 8 Ann Street. That's between Warren.
Did we get booted off the call?
I think so.
How did it happen?
I have no idea.
Ian, could you text someone to get us back on?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay, thanks.
Michelle, we got booted from Zoom. LOL. Let's see what they say.
Okay, good. We just YouTube live streaming us?
Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. That's what it says, right? I don't know if we have to go to YouTube to watch it. Let's see if I go to YouTube if it'll work.
Okay. Nick told Dan and he told Evan. Tell us what you find on YouTube. Everybody on YouTube's just watching us try to figure out how to get back in the meeting.
Yeah, it's like the weirdest thing. I don't know.
All right, I'm leaving. I guess